Allow me to introduce our next district governor, Rotarian Christine Kyeyune Kawooya, from the Rotary Club of Bwerenga, Tankhill. Tankers, where are you? Yes. These two people are our panelists tonight over the story I made you stand up for a minute for. And allow me to start off by saying it is going to be an interactive session. So my assistant, captain who flies planes, you'll distribute these papers to people here. Write your questions you'd like to pose to these people. And you give them back to him. Make one sentence only for those who would like. Others, we shall give you a mic. Those who write, you be sure that all your questions will be answered. That's the first house rule. The second one is to request these two eminent Rotarians to tell us a little bit about themselves and why they got involved with the MCH. President, allow me to use your microphone. Is it on? I want to start off with peace. I'll end with Christine. Peace, I've been to Mungali, and I've been to your home here in Entebbe. What made you with all the money you have, with all these good relations with a wonderful wife, Anna, and only a few children, why did you, why did you choose MCH, and in particular, the village tricycle ambulance as your flagship project when you became a governor, something every governor does? Peace.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our moderator. I wanted to put a disclaimer on two issues. One, that I am a member of the Rotary Club of Kajansi, but I'm also happy to be an honorary member of the Rotary Club of Entebbe, Garuga, Bwerenga, and Akurite. Secondly, all the money I have is an overstatement. So, but let me get to the question. Omungari is not very far. It is only 331 kilometers from here. I know it by distance because my home is across, and it is 333 kilometers, and it is 2 kilometers to here. So, there are several things I would want us to look at. I know very many of you have had an opportunity to come to Kampala because you have come to school. And you graduated and you have jobs and you can even employ others. Our mothers in the villages, our sisters, when it comes to childbirth, that is a big nightmare. You find one border guy in the whole village, and that is the one they rely on. But very more often than not, they actually don't even disturb themselves with that border guy, and they decide to produce and give it a try until they fail and finally either die or die. So that's one group of persons. The second group of persons, there is one weekend I had gone to the village, and there was this woman who came to our home at around 2:30, and I had gone home a little bit, and it was only around 1 o'clock. So I was told that somebody is outside, and she wants to be taken to the hospital. My home is 18 kilometers from Kagongo Hospital, but those days I was a good person because I could even put on shorts. So I dressed again and took the lady to the hospital. The boy produced at that time is around 17 years of age now. My village is not as a big problem as what I have seen in your Kampala here. these slums of yours have more women producing than our village mothers. I have seen women on borders trying to balance whether to fall left or fall right. And that was one other reason why I thought that even the Kampala community will consider those areas of yours, villages, which are actually more village than some of our villages, and carry the women. But beyond that, I had some other thing more. That was our Rotarians. Our giving to the Rotary Foundation had started moving down. You remember how many zeros we give? I knew that with that strategy, you will give to the Rotary Foundation. And I want to assure you, you gave to the Rotary Foundation, moved from below 100,000, because our average giving was about 90,000 US. I did research that when I was going for interviews as a governor. So I know what you were giving. By the end of our year, we were close to 300,000. So my strategy, which I thank the team that have accepted, was that we killed two birds and injured the third one.
Thank you so much, Governor Peace. I would like now to ask Christine. Christine has a big CV of having worked in almost every big bank in this town. Another day I will ask you why big bankers hop from one bank to another. But one thing is you didn't get enough time to produce many children, but also there was no need for you to help Peace. Yet he appointed you as the chair, the MCH project, which was his flagship. Why did you accept? Is there any story like his?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think let me stand. Let me stand so that I can be able to see even those people at the back. The story. There may not be a very big story. There may not be a very big story, but definitely it is the concern. And when you're Rotarian, there's so much that you look at. Can you hear? No. Okay, thank you. As a Rotarian, there's so much, and we realize the gaps that exist. Why I accepted to take this role was to fit in that gap. And because I had visited different communities and known the gaps that exist. When you go to, say, for a health camp, you find mothers coming to you, Musawo, Musawo. I've been called Musawo many times, even when I don't know. But because I'm distributing the Panadol, they are seeing a doctor and I'm distributing. They realize they cannot go to the hospital for a few reasons. First, they cannot afford it. Second, they do not know why they need to go there for antenatal to check on their babies. But third, even the transportation that takes you there. And when we did a survey around, we felt that the mothers were being carried to the hospital. If they're very lucky, like Governor Peace has said, there's a border that can take you. Oh, there's a person who has come to the village and you can use their vehicle. But many of them were using, what do we call it? They would use a bicycle and they tie something where you sleep. That one that people use to race, to, something like that. So they would be driven by two people to the hospital. They would be lucky to make it. Others would not make it. About 2 months back, I went to my village, very near here. And they told me a mother lost her life. I gave her TVA. But because they did not have storage, there's one person who volunteered to keep it in their home, a gated home. So this, when they took the person to the clinic, is it a health center too? They did not have the means to continue to the next. And as they were going, they had gotten a border. The mother lost her life. It touched me so much. But that is also following what had been taken through. Probably Governor Peace also took me through something. He biases you, sends you to a health camp so that you can feel touched. And then when you come back, you will say, okay, I will do it. And so I did it. He had given me 2 options that year, to choose between the district conference and assembly and the maternal and child health. And I chose this one because the impact was much better for me. For the mothers, it is always best to impact, and then I can count my impact. For the DCA, it is just fun, enjoying and everything, celebrating achievements. But that was one of our key achievements for the Rotary year. And I'm happy that I accepted to carry on that role, because there's a lot that I can write about in MCH, and thus the continuation in the year as governor. Thank you very much.
Don't sit, don't sit, don't sit. I want you to stay standing. Anyway, Christine, answer this question. During that implementation, tell us, how many TVAs did you give out? What were any challenges you faced while processing the giving out of the tricycle village ambulances?
Thank you. How many tricycles did we give? First of all, you need to begin with a target. What is your goal? Because that's where the heart is. The goal was 300. And as we continue, we shall achieve this number. If it's this year or next year, but we shall be able to achieve the 300. What we did for the year was about 85, which was very good. I would say it was excellent. Because with the 85, you know 85 health centers are impacted, 85 communities, and the ripple effect goes on. If I'm impacting probably a homestead in a community, I will make sure a mother does not die. And if a mother does not die, they have the ability to improve the economy in that home. They can work, they can be able to educate their children, they can be able to look after them very well. And for me, the impact is what I look at. So when you look at 85, I consider much more than that. It could be more and more. Then the 5 challenges. Of course, challenges are many. But you'd go to a health center, you realize they have a need. But because these ones were given by Rotarians from those areas, there was an imbalance. And you try to look for where to pick another TVA you don't get. We were able to look at the very many health centers, and especially those ones that were going to benefit. But the challenge was, we had others that were not going to benefit, yet we knew the need was very big. So that was one of the challenges. So you would say, do I continue with what we set out, every Rotarian, or should we change the narrative now to say, let us give to these ones? I'll give an example, I think, of Bukedia somewhere. There was a big need, but the Rotarians were not there to give. Barbara gave. Barbara, where did you give? Busia. Busia was another one. But besides Busia, there was a lot. So the challenge was the many health centers that we could not reach, that we could not satisfy. Another challenge, of course, is also begging the Rotarians. They saw the need. We had the presentations. They bought in, but the money was scarce. So you could not blame Rotarians for not giving. So that was one of the challenges. If we had had all the Rotarians giving, probably would have achieved the 300 in a given year. So those are some of the challenges that we faced. Media was good. Ministry of Health was good. The mothers were good. The communities were good. Only those challenges that we could be able to see. Thank you.
Thank you. Take your seat and drink some water. And hand over that microphone to Governor Peace. Governor Peace, despite those few challenges DG and Christine has talked about, you left your governorship on a high. Other than Christine helping you, I am sure there are groups, there are organizations, there are processes that helped you achieve the 300 targeted. So far, we have 85 in the health centers, but 300, we have it in plan. What and who are these? Over to you.
Thank you so much. I want to assure you that the next 41, I know Judge Mirie has an answer, but they should be with us maybe in the next 2 months. So that will add on the number. Now, I want us to look at who are these that did support us. I want to request the MCH team to rise. Now, you understand, those were the gloves men and the gloves women. I will forever appreciate what you did. The second team I want to appreciate is the Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization. The Ministry of Health paid all the taxes and committed to pay taxes and pay the registration for the registration numbers for the 300 village ambulances in writing. We came up with a protocol, the village ambulance. As we moved along, we moved from tuk-tuk to village ambulance to trident to everything you can think about. For us, we remained on tuk-tuk and village ambulance. Now, they came up with a protocol. Whatever you have seen move around, there are clear guidelines. How will it be operated? Who will be the rider? What will happen? How will they be maintained? I mean, all that protocol was developed by the Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization. We held meetings every Wednesday between 7 and 8 a.m. with the Ministry of Health. The other group that did help us were the international partners. The international partners, I want in a special way and forever to appreciate our Rotarian Joan Kantu, who can raise for recognition. Big sister Joan Kantu got us one person that I want everybody of you to continue praying for. And that is past district governor Uz Hezog, who comes from Switzerland. That person, that individual identified international partners. The international partners were responsible for giving us $2,000 for each of the ambulances you saw. I know very many of us will agree with me that before you have an international partner, what you have as a global grant application is basically a good document. PDGOs took that extra mile, and I want to thank him, the District 1980 and the clubs. The other group that did support us were the donors. And I want to thank these people because they believed in us. I want to use the word again. They believed in us. We came up with an idea, wired. And of course, I don't want to be... Now, this is what these persons decided to do. They decided to risk their $1,000 with us. They knew that the 1,000 they give, if it disappears, it will be bad chance. But I'm telling you that those people trusted us and gave us our money, gave us their money. We kept their money at the Uganda Rotary office. When the global grant was approved, we sent money to the Rotary Foundation. Those ones who have worked with me on stewardship issues, I would have been surprised if they didn't trust me with their 1,000. Now, these people did much more. And when I was talking about injuring the third bird, is that I now knew that each of you now has a reason to tell the people where you come from that you are alive and in Kampala or in those areas where you were working. Because we said we shall put your name. Our branding was your name as the sponsor. I want to thank all those who attempted to join us after we launched the ambulances. On that day, everybody wanted to pay. The following day, everybody wanted to pay. I still want to thank you so much because I know that you now know the way. The other group I want to appreciate with you have to appreciate with me are the communities. Our strategy was the village, the communities would manage those TVAs. We had nothing to do with government maintaining the TVAs. And they had to come up with community action groups. Each of these donors went back home and there were meetings at sub-county level, and these meetings identified the riders, identified the storage, identified where they would take fuel from, and actually put in money which they are still using. I want again to appreciate some of the districts which have taken another level and they have said that, community, thank you so much. We are now moving to, we shall manage the ambulances ourselves. How much is the money for that village ambulance? The other team I want to appreciate is the other one which I told you about, where I wanted you to send money and understand that your 1,000 can attract 2,000. And that is the Rotary Foundation. The Rotary Foundation, the district designated fund, contributed to your village ambulances to come over. Maybe I can only add that we had one club which we piloted with, and that's the Rotary Club of Entebbe. I want to thank the Rotary Club of Entebbe because piloting with them helped us to identify where a problem was and how we could solve that problem. There we are. And I also want to pray for those ones who prayed for us. For the team that was in the write-up, the Mirias of this world, the Shamiras of this world, those ones I cannot say much. To the team that was here, I want to assure you that it was a job well done. And maybe before I make it a presentation, I would also want to thank the president of this country. We sent him a letter. We sent him a letter. Through Governor Emmanuel, he told me where to deliver the letter. We delivered the letter and we got a reply from State House within 4 days. I know that very many of you know how many days your letters come back if you write to the president. He gave us the prime minister. And I received a telephone call from the principal private secretary explaining why the president was not coming, but how he was sending. Trust me, when he speaks, very many people do understand. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Governor Peace. Colleagues, the topic for today was what next after a successful TVA project. The last so many minutes we were reviewing what made the TVA project successful. I would like now to explore the future. What next? And let me start off with still Peace. Governor Peace, while you are handing over the mantle to Christine, I am sure you must have already identified a few gaps of your implementation programs, implementation plans. What is it that is still lingering there, which you'd like Christine to take on?
Thank you so much, Bush and friends. Number one. More than 80% of our health center threes do not have transportation facilities for referrals. We need many more TVAs. I want to thank the Busoga region. For them, they have already petitioned the government of Uganda that Ministry of Health should add a budget item so that each of the health center threes gets a TVA. You know what Rotarians do? We support the government where it has not done it. So let's continue giving more. The second gap, which you realized, was also through the pilot project. You hurry a lady to the health center where the health person is not properly trained. One of the biggest gaps we have, and I want to thank that, the Entebbe Road, the Entebbe Club for that, for identifying that gap, that our health personnel need a little bit of touch-up. So training of the health workers is one other gap. The third gap is where we find that you have hurriedly brought this woman who was HIV negative. She goes back HIV positive. Why? Because there was no sterilizer. The equipment that was used on me and that one and the other one is now being used on this otherwise safer person, and now she goes back with a plus in her blood. The equipment that I'm talking about, we are talking about those children who are born. And there is those small things that you need. The Dopplers, the baby warmers, those items. That's another gap. The other gap we found out was water. Our health facilities, a lady comes to the health center, and one of the things she must carry is a jerrycan. The toilet is 300 meters away. This is a squatting toilet. She has another 5 hours to deliver. You are telling her to go to the toilet, which is that meters away. Water is very far away from where she is, and it is you, the husband, and you know how good husbands you are when it comes to escorting your wives to the health facility, including those ones where they even have sitting rooms. You even never go there. Now, somebody must carry a jerrycan to bring it because the mother must use that water. In my opinion, if we address that, we shall achieve two things. One, we shall reduce the referrals at these health centers of health center force of yours. You don't need to go to Mulago when you have already produced a kid from Chitende. You don't need to go. This business of people lying on the ground, it's just simply because they must be referred there. If they were not referred there, this sleeping on the benches and everywhere would be. That is what I hand over to Christine. And Christine, what I hand over to you is a team of Rotarians. These Rotarians that are here are as good as their leader. They are as good as their leader. The day you sleep on the job, trust me, they will sleep with you on the job. The gap that you will find is that when you don't tell these Rotarians early enough, trust me, they will wait for you at the year end. The last gap I want to mention is global grant applications. I've had an opportunity, the past 1 month, I was hosting a Rotary Scholar. This young lady comes from Liverpool, but she's a Rotary Scholar in Geneva. It has been one of those good moments where I was fully engaged. Because I had to make sure that that girl, I hope I am using the right word, that girl had to be safe 100%. Because I knew that it was important to protect District 9214. By the time she left, she asked me, now I'm going back. I'm going to present to the clubs which support me. Where are these global grants that I can share with them? Hope Creator Presidents, you know that I am on your forum. The other team, this other group of ours, the ones for global grants, the Rotary Foundation Committee, which I'm so glad that I'm going to serve with you for the next 3 years. I asked you, and I want to thank you so much, because I received only one application. That is a big gap. And I was good enough, and I gave her the one application that you had given me. These friends of ours, each of the clubs, my governor, each of the clubs need to prepare 2 documents. One should be the executive summary of your application. The executive summary. Do a 2-page. If I'm going to give you money, I don't need to read through 20 pages. Give an executive summary, 2 pages. Then continue with the application. Do it in all the 7 areas of focus. Our interest was MCH, but MCH is one of the 7 areas of focus. But I want to assure you that I felt extremely low when I could only get 1 grant by the Rotary Club of Bwerenga to give to her. I pray that, because she's now Liverpool and she goes next week to Geneva, I pray that those ones who think that it's necessary to support our communities can send over so that we give it a try. I hope I am through with the gaps. I know that those are not few, but like some of these old people who used to see football long ago, you will not be alone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Governor Peace, and I request that you give that microphone to DG and Christine. Christine, one thing I'm very happy with is that when Governor Peace was talking of the problems you kept on writing, in Uganda we say, when they are talking about the princess, you, the child of Munaku, better have your ears listening very carefully, and I saw you listening very carefully. You are a real Munaku in this case, because the burden is on you. With that big shopping bag, what are you going to do come 2025, 2026, when you are the governor of this great Rotary district? About the flagship you have decided to pick up on MCH. Over to you, Christine.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, George Bush. The flagship. First, I will talk about that and why the flagship. Why we identified that as a flagship, I myself, leading a team, I realized we had gaps that we had to close. We may not be able to close now, but I said, in that year, come 2025, we should be able to close most of these gaps. We are not seated. Even as we speak, we are not seated, we are working. A team has already been constituted to serve in that year, and it has already started on the work. Please stand up for recognition. Team led by the one and only Joan Kantu, who is going to be the flagship chair. Bush is here, this one, Barbara Nekesa, permanent secretary. We have POP. Those people are on calls. These days, thank you very much for accepting to serve with me. Like Governor Peace said, we used to have meetings every Wednesday morning. These days, we have said, as we try to address, let us have probably every fortnight or every month. And so we do that diligently every Wednesday morning, that is 7 to 8. We talk of the gaps that exist. So many exist. And many of them that have been shared is the transport. We are continuing to buy more TVAs so that we can be able to close the gap further. Beyond that, we are engaging other partners to identify those ones who are going to serve with us, who are going to deliver this service, but I think I better stand, who are going to work better with us. As we searched for partners, I was in Zambia. We had gone for, what was it? Where did we go? I had gone for the Zone Institute. They requested me to join a call. And PDG US has been very diligent on this. He has been, Christine, join the call. I saw, we were in a different session, of course, membership, which is also very dear to me. Joan calls me and tells me, DGN, please log on, log on. And as I logged on, of course, we had a meeting, MCH. These ones go on every time. You just pick the phone. Even last Saturday, as we were at different functions, we attended a meeting. So that is the connectivity that we have created with the people we are working with. Joan calls me, PDG US calls me, I log on to the call, and there we are. Somebody who was presenting, listening to the gaps that we had raised, came up and said, I will give $250,000 in that year.
Repeat. We didn't hear that very well.
That's why I wanted to stand. $250,000. I was in Zambia.
Whoa.
I said, have I heard right? 2,500 or 25,000? So she put it in writing. $250,000. People, where do you get such partners in life? And once you attract those people, you are also engaged. You want to deliver more beyond that. As we're navigating through the other problems, she came up and said, I think PDG US shared more of what the gaps that existed. Then she wrote an email, and I think Governor Peace, you shared it. Sent an email and said, I will give, tell DGE Christine, I don't know why she called me DGE, but DGN, Christine, I will give another $250,000 during her year for MCH. So as we start, we already have 500,000 US dollars. Governor Peace, please know that these gaps you have talked about, you have shared with us, many of them are going to be addressed. First, we've already started with WASH. WASH is very important. We need to be able to collaborate so that we consolidate and close all the gaps. So the collaboration is bringing in Kumba University for them to put up a WASH Institute. We have had meetings. We have hosted in our different capacities. And Kumba will be able to put up a WASH Institute to train people who will go out and serve more with us. So that is part of the consolidation that we are looking at. Next, we are going to have the health centers. Many of them, like Governor Peace has said, the ministry has identified what we have gone through and the need that exists. And so it has agreed to give us 3 Cycle Village ambulances and the health center 3s. So that is decreasing or narrowing the gap that has been existent. So Governor Peace, thank you so much for sharing all these gaps with the Ministry of Health. That is Dr. Mogahi. They are responding positively. Next, we are going to address it with, reducing the referrals. Of course, the way we reduce the referrals, in our global grant, which is going to be a program of scale, we're including training the personnel. We have identified what they need, and World Health Organization has been very deliberate in saying, we shall work with you so that we train the health personnel. So that is also going to close that gap of the referrals that exist. People, do you see how we are closing all the gaps in that year? Next was the, which gap was it? That is training health equipment. There was a study that was carried out. We have people who have gone out for monitoring and evaluation, but these ones have come out to identify that equipment that is lacking in these health centers. So in our global grant, we are incorporating the health centers for us to have those little incubators, the Doppler machines, all those little things that lack in those centers for us to have a mother deliver safely. And I think you were there during President Jennifer Jones when we launched. You saw the different beds so that we don't have mothers lying down. You saw them small machines, Doppler scanners, what? Because at times it's very important for you to go to a hospital. You find a scanner and they tell you if your baby is in breach or if your baby is not lying well. So you can be able to find a solution before it is too late, because they cannot deliver you at that health center if the baby is breech or something. So these are some of the things we are acquiring. And so we are addressing the gaps in a very systematic way. And people, I would like to invite you. The lady that has given us the $500,000 is going to be a reaper for the DCA. It will be a very good opportunity for you to join the district conference and assembly so that you can see, and probably she'll be able to share what she's going to do and how we are going to benefit. Probably other clubs can also benefit something. You know, when you rub shoulders with those ones, you can also pick something. I would thus like to invite you to join us as we celebrate the achievements and plan to close the gaps that exist. Thank you very much.
Christine, don't sit. Christine, don't sit. Pro-show. Where is Pro-show? The people from Pro-show. Yes, show her where the camera is. Colleagues, fellow Rotarians, Pro-show is streaming us live. So this is live to those ones who have the link. Courtesy of Pro-show. Let's give a big hand clap to Pro-show. Now, Christine, I want you to look straight in that camera. There are people here and people outside there. $500,000 is too big for you to handle alone, unless you want to become an Anchclaf. Just return it to us and we give you a big pin. Look in the camera and call on people whom you want to come and help you implement MCH. Over to you, Christine.
Thank you very much. As I look at my President-elect, thank you so much for the support. Godfrey. The call to action today. I would like to invite you Rotarians in your individual capacity to contribute. Put probably 1,000 and we shall be able to match it like we did it in the visionary year. Come. Give that 1,000. If you cannot give 1,000, partner with somebody. I know clubs have done this, but we can do better. If you save $20 on a weekly basis, for the so many weeks, you're going to be able to give the $1,000. People, this is achievable. We sit on those tables and enjoy green bottles, red wines and everything. Let us spare and be able to give so that we can be able to save our mothers. So as I continue calling upon the Rotarians, I would like to call on different partners, international partners. PDG Uz has led the journey. Let us support him by identifying other partners who can come in to give beyond his district. Our Reaper, Brenda Cressy, has come in with $500,000 because there's a need in the hospitals. Why can't we find like-minded people to give us more, or even for us to give more to the foundation so that we can channel this to MCH, which is going to be our program for the year. Beyond that, I call upon the different clubs for you to understand what is involved in MCH. Because once you know this, it touches everybody in a different aspect. People, if it is not only giving birth, it is going to the hospital. You can take your mother to the hospital and then she picks a disease because they do not have water, because they do not have sterile equipment, because of anything. But we are doing a holistic one so that it is not only the mother. We are looking at the entire health facility. How can we improve the standards so that we can be able to serve all? So it touches everybody. It touches you, me. I may not have young children. I may not be going to labor soon. But other people are going, and probably they're my relatives. If they lost their lives, I would suffer looking after their children. So that is the ripple effect that we get if we don't support MCH. So I call upon you to support in big numbers. We are open to receiving your money now. Joan Kantu, please stand up so they can see you. Call upon Joan there, our ambassador. That one brought MCH. She has attracted many partners and she continues to attract. Please work with her so that each club can be able to come up with an MCH project. Just like we have done this year. We have focused on basic education and literacy. Let us come up with health centers. The club can contribute to build a small health center. Even as we go back to our homes, let us make sure people do not have to walk so many kilometers to the health centers. Put up a health center, equip it, train the personnel, do everything, and also buy those little machines, the equipment that can be able to support them. I'd like to call upon you to join me as we put up this program of scale, because it covers many clubs. It is not a one project for us, probably a district, but we need to show how we have built in the MCH before we can be able to consolidate in the global grant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, our Governor Christine. I would like to request Governor Peace to also stand up, look in the camera, and add on if there are any people whom Christine may have not called on. Can you call on them to action? ProShow, our sponsors for live streaming, please get the governor here. Give him the mic.
Thank you so much, Bush, and thank you for the effort you have put in the Rotary Club of Entebbe to deliver what we can now see. Governor Christine has said almost everything about what we are calling all the Rotarians to support the MCH for. I want to add on 2 or 3. 1, I want each of us here and on call to use the word consolidation, which comes from the word to consolidate. We want to consolidate our efforts. We want to go to a health center and leave it complete. I hope my message is clear. We want to get to a point, make this health center a choice for everybody in the community. Number 2. Can of scale. One of the questions that will be asked is, what is this that you have done that shows that you have expertise? It is very that each of you goes back with a project proposal that when that question is asked, if we need to wait for it to be asked anyway, we should answer that one as we populate the grant of scale. You are not going to surprise those people that you want $2 million when you don't have any experience of even managing 200,000 years. So my call to action, number 2, is please populate as many grant proposals as possible. Don't mind those ones that will pass, those that will fail. Just be ready, because that will be another level of evaluation. How many have you done that you want us to believe that you can do it? 0? Yes, then you can as well remain at your 0. The element I want us to look at is, during this, especially after successful activity, you will find lots of our friends riding on the successes and at times swaying several communities. Tell you that this business of Mpembuzi Nkuwente is characteristic of poor people. You have not been able to populate a global grant and you are a Rotary Club of 10 years. And now I come and I tell you, you bring 1,000, we are going to give you 30,000. And you clap hands and immediately start signing. It is very okay, please continue signing. But I want to tell you that there is a moment when we need to understand that you are District 9214, you are in this zone. Friends, we need to come to that point when this district here needs to stand on its feet. My call to action is District 9214, please wake up. Please wake up. My final call is to all incoming presidents. The success of the Hope Creator presidents will be seen through your presidents-elect. That's why the other day I could comfortably boast that Governor Francisco has done a good job. I am very happy. You will take your clubs to heights, and the next persons will take it to another level. I want to request that you utilize the grant support officers this district has put in place. When I was nominated as your governor, I did talk to the governor that time, Governor Xavier. And I want to thank him so much because he accepted our concept of coming up with grant support officers. The idea was developed. Some of you move very fast and you send your applications to the Rotary Foundation. You do a good job. They finally come back. And you get more angry. The reason why you get more angry with Mirie, the reason why you get angry with PDG Shamira is because you have failed to understand how it works. My call to action is, when we invite you for grant management seminars, please attend. And please don't attend for the sake of attending. Please attend, listen, and put into action. Our strategy is to increase knowledge among Rotarians about global grant applications. You don't, if you can't do it, please let other people do it for you. My call to action is, please utilize the grant support officers. No one pays them, they are available for you. And our choice of those grant support officers was deliberate. We looked at those clubs which have over time received grants. And that's the group we started with. If Callisto has always got a global grant, that means there must be somebody around there who populates the grant. And as we moved around, we found Sanasio Chisenyi Chotera. We said that is one of them. As we were around Akabare, we found there JB. His issues will soon disappear. As we were moving around Barara, we got another people. When we came to Kampala, we found there the jury. I mean, there are those people, and I know they are not the only ones. Kindly use them and stop disturbing yourselves by asking your governors to sign off global grants when they are mature, when they are immature. If those were a call to action, I submit.
Thank you, thank you. President, we are shooting beyond our set time, but I beg for your indulgence. This was supposed to be a participative interaction. I have 3 sets of questions. They might be many, but they are similar. I have even grouped them. If you don't mind, allow me to ask these questions to these panelists and they answer them. Is that okay? Okay, thank you. Yes, and I'll give our area support officer the microphone and a few other people if they... You want to ask now? No, let me first ask the written ones, then I'll give you an opportunity. Governor Peace, the audience have listed here 3 questions on sustainability of the TVA. I don't want to eat their words. Allow me to read all the questions of sustainability. The first one, good evening, panelists. Mine is on the side of supervision and reporting. The MOU we signed gave the responsibility of supervision to the district officials. The donor doesn't receive any reports from those people, which I think is an oversight. We need to recommend that supervisors inform the donor on the developments. A related question. What is the current status of the earlier distributed TVAs? The other question in a similar vein. There is a lot that happens in health facilities that cause maternal deaths. How can Rotary help in quality assurance of maternal health? The last question on sustainability. Killing 2 birds and injuring the 3rd one with 1 stone. My question is, the injured one, that is the sustainability of the tricycle project. Do you have a monitoring team to assure that the purpose is achieved? I beg that I shoot those questions to you. Any clarification you need? The last question. Let me read it, probably let me paraphrase it. Is there sustainability for the TVA project? Do we have a monitoring team? The last ones will be answered by Christine, if you don't mind. In one go.
Thank you so much. And this was always the big issue every time we talked about TVS. Get it from today that TVS is one component on the MCH journey. And therefore, understand that TVS was one of the items for improvement of maternal child health, where we are looking at reducing maternal deaths from more than 300, about 366 for every 100,000 to a number that will not be very annoying. Now, the issue of sustainability was addressed this way. Number one, each of you put his name on the TVA. Do you know how embarrassing it becomes when you find the TVA you donated to your community, that it is on a Kijinji? I now want to give you the soft elements when it comes to sustainability. The thinking was that, number one, you as the donor, you will have that moral obligation to make a follow-up. If you want to sit here and wait for reports, I want to assure you that you will wait for reports until you can't get them. My request would be, once in a while, the reason we asked you to choose where you want to take it was in a way to choose where your heart would take it. Follow your heart. But in the meantime, the advice for us getting those reports is taken seriously. And one of the things we have now come up with, unfortunately, okay, I will say it the way it is. We did request our colleagues, our counterparts at the Ministry of Health, to give us specifications of laptops so that we can buy laptops and we receive the information which we can comfortably now pick from one central point. Unfortunately, for the past 1 year, we are yet to get the specifications. We are not worried. We shall take a decision and buy the laptops because each of us knows what kind of data will be collected at the health center 3. And we know that when we give it to them, the choice will be theirs whether to give it to us, to share with us the information or not. But I want to tell you there is one good thing with the Ministry of Health. There is the Ministry of Health Information System. Something like that. I think once in a while, let's peruse there and see what's happening. That's one comment I would give about those reports and supervision. The second element is that those clubs, those TVAs, among other items, because when you're talking about the TVA, I will tell you when I went to the Rotary Club of Kyeyune, they, with due respect, they had plugged an X-ray machine direct into power. No power surge. I mean, you can imagine what you feel. I said, excuse me, just switch off. But I want to thank them so much. Because before I left the following day, they had bought the stabilizers. So the supervision is actually ours as Rotarians. As a Rotarian, when you pass it on the way, the TVA, when you go to health center, I mean, if I have given anything to Rotary, Bush has given, Camero has given, Passe has given. Pass by and see. Is the other equipment which we gave still in place, or it has developed legs to the nearest private health clinic? That's the reason why we refused to give some of you who wanted to take to your private, to your friends' hospitals. Some of you wanted to take to your brothers and sisters' health facilities. And we said they don't belong to government. The second element is on the status of those distributed. Rotarian Judy Kalibara is the M&E officer. We commissioned her, and she's yet to give a report. I think when the report is given, we shall share it. What I know is that everywhere it passes, people send photographs that it is working. I am yet to know that one which is not working. Now, that very many things happen at the health center that may cause death. In our discussion here, we identified it as a gap, and we said that that's what we are focusing on after this intervention. The final one was about sustainability. The sustainability starts from our heads and ends in our heads. We need to give more, give. The moment we make these health centers much better than what they are today, the referrals will reduce. Why don't you have malaria in the developed world? Is it because they don't have blood like you? It's because they don't have the mosquitoes. So my plea is that for us to reduce, one of the village ambulances made I think 34 journeys within the first 2 weeks. Now, what do you think? What is the problem? Is the problem the TVA, or the problem is that they have a bigger need? In the event that I have not answered the question properly, I am here after fellowship.
Governor, this is a light one. Don't sit. This is a light one. With all this you are doing, why is it that in the whole of Africa we have failed to get a Rotary International president? Or should we expect you to be the one, given that you are continuing with what you did and what you are going to do ahead there? Or why you are the one to answer this one?
No, I mean, somebody can't wish you that well and you don't give an answer. I have a message here on the phone, and somebody said, now that you are through, can we vote for you to become the RI president? I realized that we had not done enough education of our people. Now, one of the reasons why we have not had an African president, okay, we have had one. In the past 117 years, we have had one. The second one was almost, and I want to tell you this from simple statistics. A zone is a group of districts. A zone is composed of a minimum of 35,000 Rotarians. About 4 years ago, Africa was given an opportunity for a provisional zone. In other words, the whole of Africa, our numbers were less than 35,000. And because of that, we had to be added to some other portion in the Middle East to make a zone. It is from those directors that an RI president will be voted. We have 34 zones globally. So if you want to ask why one person has failed to convince the remaining 33, I think you have an answer. We have been poorly represented. Our voice has been at its minimum, and we can only be, they can only support us. They can only support. At that time when we had the Middle East added to us, not even every year that we would have, every 3 years, we couldn't even have an African director. We would have a director from the Middle East. So you can imagine that over the 117 years, there is nobody who would think that an African would come, because we had not shown cause. When you see Governor Francisco talking about numbers, please understand that the bigger the numbers, that's what our access to the World Fund will be, because we shall have more districts, and therefore the access to the World Fund will be bigger, and even our chances of becoming RI presidents will also take that direction. But I want to give you assurance that we have some of our colleagues who are coming up. Our friend here, Jita Manek, has been a trustee to the Rotary Foundation. Our colleague here, Governor Ken, is about to become the regional director. Please pray for him. Our colleague, Yinka Babarora, has given it a try to become the RI president. So basically, we are not so bad. Now, for me, who is an assistant regional foundation coordinator, it means that I must become the regional coordinator, and from there, then invite to become the director for the region, and the cows will not have come back home.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. For Christine, let me start with the lighter one, then the harder ones later. And they will all come in one group. Christine, does having sex during pregnancy, are you hearing? But does having sex during pregnancy help minimize the risk of death during childbirth? That was the simple one. Now, let me ask the harder ones. I'm sure the simple one, sex is an easy one. Now, let me ask the hard ones. I'll read them, then summarize them later. I want to read them verbatim so that the people who wrote, interestingly, they are the same questions that people posed, still on sustainability, on evaluation. Let me repeat them. The MCH Village Ambulance is a very noble project with immense benefits to the beneficiaries, saving the lives of mothers and children at birth. My question is on sustainability of these ambulances, especially on maintenance. I would have said that Governor Peace has answered it, but I think you will repeat it for this particular person. Have you had or are you planning an evaluation of the project so far? That was from another of our audience members. The problems facing our health centers are many, including inadequate facilities, inadequate drugs, and even dilapidated buildings. How did you zero on village ambulances as the most pressing challenge? Why didn't you go for inadequate buildings and no drugs? Great job, Governor Peace. But we also need to engage the men for sustainability. Future Governor Joan asked a question, but which I think has been answered. But let me read it so that she confirms that I picked her question. How can we get better? That was the question Joan asked, but I think she asked before those two answers you gave. In a nutshell, these four questions are asking sustainability and project evaluation. So you can just summarize them around there. Joan was, how can we get better? But this one I'm putting it in the side because you have answered it. But you can mention something. How can we get better? We have already reached here. We have already brought the ambulances. What can we do better? I think you answered it, but still have it.
Thank you very much. The lighter question. Sex during pregnancy, does it minimize? This one, in my layman doctorish, I will know, depending on the way the pregnancy is progressing, it is either safe or not safe. So if they have to give you bed rest, no, it is not safe. But if they don't have to, you will make sure you do it so that the baby can enjoy everything that can help them grow. So thank you very much. That is the lighter one. Sustainability. About the sustainability that we talked about, Governor Peace has shared quite a lot of what we are doing. But one of the other things that we made sure we put up are community action groups. These ones walked the journey with us as we started preparing. We called them for training seminars. They understood their obligation, so they have a buy-in. And once somebody has put in a small something, 5,000, they'll make sure the project is sustainable. They will make sure that TVA is operating well so that it can fulfill the purpose of which it was brought there. So the community action groups are following up closely, and they make sure that the TVAs are well serviced, well maintained, and washed so that the presentation is good. Probably to also attract the next donor. About evaluation, we have also shared something. Evaluation is being done. Rotarian Julie Kalibala is in charge of this. She's monitoring and evaluation. They are moving out to the different districts where we have given our TVAs. We are not calling you, the donors, to support us in this evaluation because you may corrupt the system. They need to go there independently and assess what is happening. And that is the right monitoring and evaluation that we need. We don't want any influence. So please do not go to her to tell her, come and evaluate in my district. No, she will not do that. Problems at the health centers. Why TVAs? TVAs. Before you get to the hospital, you cannot get treatment. For you to know there is no medicine at the hospital, get there. And then they will assess your situation. And they will either give you medicine or give you the first aid and refer you. So the basic and most important was to make sure that we address that need. The delay, which is the transportation. And as we work with the transportation, we have gone to the hospital. What else is missing? The scanner is missing. So we have identified that. The medicine is missing. The trained personnel is missing. So slowly by slowly, we start addressing. Because if you do not start with the core, which is getting there, then you will never know the other things that you need. And that is why we chose the TVAs. Wasn't it so, Governor Peace? Yes. How can we get better? Getting better is relative. We can get better by understanding MCH better, by understanding the need for us to participate. We can get better by giving more to the foundation so that we can be able to reach out to better districts or better health centers. And we can get better as individuals by getting involved. Getting involved. Because many of the places where we have taken TVAs, we've had these, what are they? The health days. What are they, those ones? Rotary Family Health Days have been there, and medical camps have been carried out. So please get involved, because once you get involved in a medical camp, your perception of what we are doing as Rotarians is not going to remain the same. You're going to realize there's somebody who has had a toothache that is even probably smelling, but because they cannot get to that facility to get it treated. So you're going to realize the needs. Somebody does not have mere Panadol to treat headache or even the pain that they've been carrying for the longest time. You will find somebody cannot see, but because they cannot go to a health center to be reviewed, they will never know they will need specs. So we need to get involved, participate. When they call upon you, please go there. Please be the Musawo, because you're going to dispense the medicines and everything. So people, that is where we are. And probably just to share a bit of more light, where we have done very well, we have the communities with us. With every project, for you to succeed, you need to have the community. A community needs assessment is very important. And one of the things that we identified is that We need to have the buy-in of our communities, because without them, you'll not be sustainable. Your project will not be sustainable. And better still, where we can get better is forming Rotary Community Corps. RCCs help us to carry on with projects where we are not. I know RC Entebbe has come up with a project in Moyo. Not every time are you going to collect the Rotarians of Entebbe to go to Moyo. Form an RCC if you cannot form a Rotary Club, so they continue with your work. The other thing where we have done very well is having the buy-in of the government. Government of Uganda has supported us, like Governor Peace has said, and they continue to support us. So what we need to do is to have a public image very good, so that they can see what we are doing, and then they can be able to come on board. And that is why we've had the health center first going to receive TVAs. We have the mothers that have been saved. Many will tell their stories of how they have been saved from losing their babies. So this will make us better Rotarians. And also the Rotarians participating is also a big plus to us, because if you start, you cannot work in isolation. We need teams on the ground. Whereas I'll be the anchor, Joanne will be there as the flagship chair. She has a team, and what we have done right is to allocate roles to each of the team members. Everybody clearly knows their role in MCH. With this, we'll get better, and we'll know those people can co-opt others to be able to work with them. So those are some of the things that we need, and I think I've addressed your questions. Any more? No. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Governor Christine. Before I give Area Support Officer to ask his question verbally, allow me to recognize the following sponsors who have enabled us to be here and enjoy this Friday evening. Number one, the Voice Mall. Let's big a big hand clap for the Voice Mall. Our other partners is Civil Aviation Authority, Centenary Bank, Purifier, UAP, Blink, Leica. The others are not clear to me, so the people who sent me this thing, the others are not clear. But let's give a big hand clap to those people who have supported us. But more importantly, ProShow, who is streaming this live. ProShow, a big hand clap for you. And now over to our Area Support Officer. Some questions or comments.
Thank you very much, PAG, for driving this session very well. I am Andrew Kameraho, Kampala Munyonyo, but I also belong to Rotary Club of Mutundwe. Mutundwe, are you there? Mutundwe had been forgotten, but now they are here. Can you please stand up? I had not heard about Mutundwe until numbers. The club of the day. I had not heard much about Mutundwe, not until I was appointed by Governor Peace as assistant governor for Mutundwe. I'm very happy to see you. I also belong to the Rotary Club of Bwerenga. I think from the performance we saw on Wednesday in Muyenga, you are the best performing club in this corridor, Entebbe Road corridor. Thank you so much. So as I said, I'm an area support officer for Entebbe Road Corridor 1. I'm associated with clubs from the airport up to Makindye West, leaving out Lubowa and Kajansi. But the rest of the clubs, I'm associated to them as the area support officer. Next year, I've been given the opportunity to serve as the country chair. And on that note, for all of you who have been appointed district officials, we shall have our DTTS between the 7th and 10th of March in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Please, I know we don't have a platform yet, but we shall create one while we're in Tanzania. And then for the PEs, the president-elect will have their pets at Nikan on the 23rd of March. So I thought I should make those announcements, seize the opportunity to make those announcements. Now, let me first of all commend the Governor Peace and Governor Christine. These are who drove the TVA, the MCH, and of course their team, the support team stood up earlier on. I think you did a commendable job, and we need to really commend you and thank you and appreciate you. Can you please give them a hand clap? Now, I also want to comment on the monitoring and evaluation. I would like to confirm that Julie Karibala is doing her job very well. Yeah, I was approached, they called me, and I gave them contacts of the people handling the TVA in an area called Rwenshande in Chiruhura district, where this TVA was donated, was given to that clinic. And they're in touch with them and finding out what are the issues, what challenges they're facing. So they're actually doing, I'm just standing to confirm that they're doing well. He's getting tired. So they are doing a good job. The monitoring and evaluation is going on by and her team. Now, my other small question is that the name, putting our names on those TVAs, has created another problem. People, before I got the TVA, my gate used to be open home in the village. But these days I have to close the gate. Because people think I have a lot of money because of the name written on the TVA. It's a good problem, but I don't know how we look at it. Because people think we have a lot of money, and therefore they come home to ask for other things. Ask for school fees, ask for medication, for ailments. Somebody got an accident, somebody got a loan from a SACCO and has not been able to pay. So I don't know what advice you give us, because we're having problems with the villagers. You know, we came out to give these TBAs, and people think we have a lot of money and we should solve all problems. I think that is all I can say for now. I thank you very much.
President, allow me to hand over back to you, but allow me to make one announcement. A personal one. Is Joanne, my daughter, here? Come over. Come, my girl. Hurry up. Don't even wear the jacket. Do I need to do a DNA? No. On 1st May, Joanne and I and a few other relatives have approached the Rotary Club of Entebbe and our friends to come and visit us for a small home hospitality. Kamuli, where we come from, is only 140 kilometers from here. Come and join us and see the home hospitality. And why we are calling you. Joan here is a cancer survivor, so we will be also having prayers for having God returned her to life and to this.
I lost my hair now.
Oh yes, she even have hair, wow. And we shall be using the same opportunity to implement some of the Rotary Club of Entebbe projects in Namasagali, where we come from, Namasagali. You know Namasagali? We shall be donating, handing over the donation from friends abroad, a TVA, and some medical equipment. And we shall also be having, launching a wash project, but also a medical camp. Those who would like to come along, the only thing you need to do is to drive yourself there. Everything else other than alcohol is on us. God bless. And President, thank you for the opportunity for having given me this. God bless.
Thank you very much. I promise not to dominate this show. I would like to invite our PE to come and give a vote of thanks. Rotarian Andrew.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Presidents of the Joint Partnership, HCPs, to observed. It's a great honor to welcome you all to this joint fellowship for the first time that has caused these numbers. To be honest, when I read the comment by IPDG Barbara Wolf-Witcher, when she said that she supported the tuk-tuk that went to Namasagali. But for her, it's not about just the tuk-tuk. It's about that woman there who does not have the effort to get a transport from her village to the nearest health center. We look forward to supporting this program. Like we said, having the past meet the future, and the future saying we shall keep looking at the MCH program, we will be there for you. We will be behind you. Members present, I think this is one of the best programs. I personally witnessed a situation just recently. There was a woman pregnant in Nagongera, but the nearest tuk-tuk, the nearest ambulance would have been Busore, but the Busore ambulance had taken a patient to Mbale Regional Hospital. So they had to run to Chisoko Health Center 4 to come back for the woman and take her also to Tororo Regional Referral. These health centers may be far, but IPDG, the program you brought to this country, and the program we're continuing with, is one that can save many, many ahead. I thank you very much for attending today, and I take this honor to invite our ASO to also give certificates to our panelists and the moderator. Pag Andrew.
I wonder whether Andrew chose me because I was Andrew. Yeah? Because I'm his namesake. Because there are many people here who have done this. Thank you very much, President. Or to your president who chose me. Okay, very good. And I believe this session serves to enhance accountability and builds confidence in us that our donations were put to the right cause, and inspires us to do more. Thank you. The first certificate will go to immediate past district governor, Peace Geoffrey Taremwa. A bigger one. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's be upstanding for a minute or two because we've been sitting for a long time. Thank you. Dear Governor Peace, it's an honor. The president should come. President should come here. Dear Governor Peace, it's a great honor for me on behalf of the president and the members of this club and all the Friday clubs to hand over this certificate to you for the good job well done. Thank you very much. I now call upon our beloved DGN District Governor nominee, Christine Kyeyune Kawooya. Have this certificate. Dear Governor Christine, again, we'd like to thank you very much for the contribution that you made as the chair of the flagship project, and we pray that God will help you and strengthen you during your governorship, 25-26. Thank you. Oh, this one goes to my brother, Past Assistant Governor George Bush Ocheng, who has been conducting this session today. Can you please come forward? Sorry, Past Assistant Governor. He's not yet there. But now that I've said it, he will get there eventually. Thank you. My dear brother, Pastor and Governor George Bush Ocheng, thank you so much for working tirelessly and selflessly to ensure that Rotary moves forward and for conducting this business very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ASO, Andrew. And members, thank you very much for coming. Our president tells me that we shall continue with OSS to give the club statistics. Also to thank the PE Bwerenga tank here, Geoffrey Chivumbi, for being part of us, and fellow PEs from the Friday clubs. Let's make this a culture. Thank you.
Club Secretary, Rotarian Hawa. Please support on the statistics.